So why don't you get settled into your spot, whether that's seated or lying down. And a reminder for those of you who've done these Zoom meditations before, and for those of you that are new, I'd recommend not staring at the screen. I would recommend either having your eyes closed or looking downward. The idea with meditation is to go inward, and looking at me talking is just not going to help you do that. So take a moment to find your seat, and if you're sitting in a chair or on a cushion, you'll want your spine to be tall and upright, your legs uncrossed, hands in your lap or however it's most comfortable. And if today you really feel like you need to lie down to be at ease, that's fine. And if you don't feel safe keeping your eyes closed, you can just look downward at the carpet or the ground. And so let's begin by just taking some really deep belly breaths, breathing all the way down into the belly. And seeing if you can expand your chest as big as you can. So you're breathing first down into the belly pushes outward. And then the air fills the lungs after that. And on the way out, just allow your breath to release through the mouth. So in through the nose and out through the mouth. And maybe purse your lips like this so that the breath is slowed down on the way out. So you're getting a nice, deep, full in-breath through your nose and then out through the mouth. Seeing how long and slow you can make your exhale. The longer and slower, the better. And a few more like this. And notice as you're breathing out how the shoulders naturally relax, body naturally softens. See if you can invite your face to soften as you exhale. Imagining that the exhale is warming your face up and your face is melting like butter. And then for those of you that don't have asthma or breathing difficulties, COPD, emphysema, etc., you can add a little breath hold just for a few seconds at the top of the inhale when your lungs are big and full. And then you don't want to strain. And then when you're ready, just breathe out again through the mouth like we've been doing. So in through the nose, brief breath hold at the top of the breath, and then slow through the mouth. You don't want to feel like you're straining, so don't hold your breath for too long. It should be very comfortable. Good. And now I am going to invite you to open your eyes. I think we're going to start with some toning today, because it can be so rapidly calming to the nervous system that I think it's a really good way to start meditation. I know I often end with it, but it occurred to me yesterday when I was guiding a meditation that it makes sense to actually start with it at the beginning and maybe to do it for a bit longer. So, excuse me. We're going to do what we often do, which is the u, so kind of om broken down into aum. And I'm actually going to mute myself so that you're not hearing my voice, but so rather that you're only hearing your voice and your vibration. And remember, the point is not to sound good or sound a certain way or be in perfect pitch. It's actually to feel the vibration of the sound in your body. And there's a lot of research with sound and energy and balancing energy through the vibration of sound. And just subjectively, I've noticed that I've been in difficult situations and sometimes very difficult emotional situations and was able to do some toning and really found it to be beneficial. So we'll start with Aum. And what I want you to do is I want you to take a deep breath in through your nose. And in a moment, when I mute myself, then you're going to do your and I'll just do it once so you know what it sounds like in case you haven't done this before. And then we're going to do it on our own. And I'm going to mute myself, and then we're going to, when I come back on, so just keep doing the aums. You'll notice that it will affect your nervous system, and the longer you do it, the more effect it has. There's some research, I think it was 20 minutes. If you do toning for 20 minutes, then it has a noticeable effect, a measurable effect on your biology. And I'm not remembering the details of that study, but it was something like 20 or 30 minutes. So we're not going to do it for that long, but I just want you to get a taste of it. So it's going to sound like this. So you'll notice I'm giving kind of equal spacing to the the oo, and the and you'll feel those in different parts of your body. So I'm going to mute myself now, and we're going to do this together, but on our own. And if you're able to do it loudly and deep in the body, then you'll feel the most reverberation. So let's just try that for a bit. Forgot to say, obviously, go at your own pace. You don't need to follow along with me. Eyes closed, inwardly focused, feel the vibration. Now just resting, eyes closed if you can. Feeling the after effects of the toning. Noticing what you're noticing in your body. Maybe you could still feel a little bit tingly, a little bit of the reverberation of the sound waves or something else, but no right or wrong, just noticing, especially the head and the central part of the body, tuning into those areas. And now tuning into your breathing, noticing the pathway from the tip of the nose to the back of the throat. It may also feel like you're noticing the tip of the nose up to like between your eyebrows, the third eye center. Just following that little tiny pathway of breath. If the mind wanders, it's not a problem. Just bring it back to the awareness of breath. Tip of the nose to the third eye and back out again. All through the nose if you're able. And now with each out breath, just inwardly whispering the word soften as an invitation to your entire being, your entire physical body. Just soften into this moment, inviting any muscles that don't need to be contracted to release and let go. And if you have a hard time doing that, you can also do some progressive muscle tightening and then loosening, tightening and loosening. So try with each out breath, just gently inwardly saying soften. And if you're still noticing a lot of muscle tension, then you can tense up all your muscles for a few seconds and then let them go. And you can do that 3 or 4 times. Noticing, has the mind wandered away from the breath? And if it has, that's fine. No problem. If there are some of you that know that you have difficulty using the breath as the object of awareness, you could switch to using a mantra. And since we just did the mantra Aum, you could use that one. And so the way you do that is you just simply hear the mantra in your head. So you're not saying out loud, you're hearing it in your own head and body. If you want it to be even simpler, you can just go with Om, or maybe you have other mantras you like to use. So if the breath has always been difficult for you as an object of concentration, today you might want to try a mantra. And invariably, as your mind is resting, either in the breath or in a mantra, the mind will wander. It will wander to thoughts and emotions, body sensations. And seeing if for today, if when a thought arises, if you can just notice it and allow it to release, almost as if you were just kind of like opening up your hands and letting it go instead of like clamping down on it and holding it, looking it over, ruminating on it. So you're just kind of like opening your hands. It's like a bird. The thoughts are like birds. Just kind of let them fly around. And if you notice that you're holding onto one tightly or you're ruminating, just see if you can imagine in your mind's eye or even do the action with your hands where you just open up your hands and sit with your palms up and open, just symbolizing and reminding you that the thoughts are just coming and going. And the more we practice disidentifying from our thoughts, the more we sit back and take the witness seat, the easier it is to let them be there, not fight with them. They can just kind of be doing their own thing in the background while you have this awareness at the same time of your breath or of a mantra. When it comes to body sensations, I would encourage you to actually move towards body sensations while maintaining that witness stance. So what I mean by that is you're still aware of your breath or your mantra, but you're also aware of these shifting body sensations, especially in the neck and torso, the central line of the body. And you're not fixing, you're not changing, you're trying to not push away or grasp at, but you're just noticing and watching these ever shifting body sensations. If there are some that are uncomfortable, you can imagine yourself breathing into those sensations, imagining that by breathing into them, you're giving them more space so that they don't have to be so confined and tight in your body. Give them as much space as it needs. Same could be said for emotions, since emotions are just body sensations that we've named. So you might experience it as an emotion, some others might experience it as a body sensation. Either way, whatever it is, when it arises, just imagine breathing into it, giving it space, giving it room. It's part of learning how to allow, witness whatever's here without forcing transformation. It's very interesting that way. Body sensations and emotions, they will transform, they will shift on their own. But when we get into a battle with it or we resist it, that's when they feel fixed. That's when it feels stuck. So see if you can just play around with that today, where you see if you can like lean into and just really notice whatever's here without any fixing or changing or resisting. And if you notice you've been swept away by one of those birds, one of those thoughts, it's not a big deal. It happens all the time. Again, just imagine that the thought or the story is this bird that you've been kind of like clamping onto, and just open up your hands and release it. Don't worry, it'll come back. They always do. And for now, we're just choosing to not get real identified with our thoughts. Starting to see them as changing phenomena. Always changing. Everything's changing all the time. And it's through this practice of like sitting back and watching the shifting phenomena that we start to realize what our true essence is. Our true essence is that which does not change. Our true essence is that which does not change. It's the witness. It's the part of you in there that's watching it all. The more we rest in that part, the more we come to recognize that these things, these stories that we feel like are so fixed or big or scary are really just, they're just movies created by the mind. elaborate movies about the future, usually, or the past, often not very accurate. And we can just keep practicing stepping out of the movie, arriving in the present, just witnessing the ever-changing landscape around you and inside of you as well. Seeing if there's anything that you're resisting, Anything you're trying to push away or push out of your consciousness or judging or saying it's not okay. Seeing if you can just let it be there. And I should mention, if you are somebody who has PTSD or a history of significant trauma, meditating may actually be not the best idea sometimes if those memories are coming up for you and they're intrusive and your mind kind of just goes over and over with them. That's a place where therapy may be more appropriate than meditation. And so when I say welcome it all in, I guess I just wanted to clarify, welcome it all in unless it feels like it's harming you, and if it feels like it's a memory that's harming you, then, taking a break, opening your eyes, walking around, getting a glass of water, not forcing yourself to sit with things like that. And sometimes it's not a memory, sometimes it's a body sensation. So just really trusting your own inner teacher, your own inner guidance above all else. Always trust your own inner teacher. If something resonates, you feel drawn to it, you can trust that. And if it feels so hard or like you just don't want to do it, and it's not just a subtle feeling, but it's really strong, you can trust that. So coming back to your body, coming back to the breath. That's the other thing. If things do spin out into the past or future or become overwhelming, you can always use the breath or the mantra as like a safe home base, place you can come back to, place of safety. And now in the last few minutes of our meditation, if you'd like, I'd invite you to picture everyone on this call today. I'm not sure how many people there are. It's usually between 80 and 100 or 120. Picture everyone in a circle, and we're outside a beautiful park, lots of shade and trees and beautiful flowers. And we're all standing, feeling the gentle breeze. Those of us that need to sit are sitting. And there's this sense of combined effort, this sense of united energy, this sense of each one of us going inward, which in effect spreads outward. Each one of us tuning in, learning to be more compassionate and kind with ourselves, which in turn only reverberates outwards, always reverberates outwards. So taking a moment to look around the circle in your imagination, thanking each person through your heart for coming here to collectively raise the vibration of our planet, raise the consciousness of our planet by first tending to our own wounds, tending to our own inner judgments, tending to the ways that we're unkind to ourselves, because invariably when we don't work with that shadow stuff, it gets projected outward at others. So every time we go inward with the intention of being more loving and more caring to ourselves, we're doing that for others too. Meditation is a practice for everyone. So on that note, I'd like to dedicate our practice today, the energy that we've cultivated together. May the fruits of our practice spread outwards in all directions, all over the planet, all throughout the universe. Help to end the suffering of all beings everywhere. Thank you so much for coming today. I have so much gratitude for each one of you. Looking forward to when we can hang out in person again. But for now, this is pretty great too. Hoping this can continue as well for those of you that can't make it to Monona Terrace. Thanks for coming.
Do we have any questions out there? Sarah, did you want to mention next week?
Oh yeah, sure. My dear friend Sara Arscott, who has taught meditation at the Monona Terrace before, she's a really great teacher. She is going to be teaching for me next Wednesday at noon. And so you get a little bit of a taste of a different teaching style, which I think is always a good idea. So please join another Sara next Wednesday.
No.
You're welcome, Helen.
Doesn't look like any questions. Everybody must be very relaxed.
Must be mellow. All right, well.
Let's see. We have a Patricia Brooks. Can you use the Q&A if you have a question, please? She had her hand up.
Can you explain toning again? Sure. So what I mean by toning is you're making a sound with your vocal cords and it's vibrating a part of your body. So you can use any sound for that, and there are lots of different ways to do it. The way that we did it today is by using the sounds ah, ooh, and mm. So you might have noticed that the ah, if I do it right now, it's I can kind of feel that right about here. And then the ooh, I feel that more in my throat area. And then the I feel that throughout my face, and I kind of feel it moving up through my head. So, I mean, we could get into chakras and energy and all that, but honestly, I don't really know that much about that stuff. So I'd be making a lot of stuff up, and I'm not going to do that. So mainly, I've just noticed that I can go from feeling very, very upset, angry, sad, whatever it is, and do some of that toning with different sounds, and then, you know, after 10 minutes or so, feeling much more clear. You know, maybe still, it's not about pushing away an emotion. Emotions are valid and we need to feel them and pay attention to them. But sometimes we can get into emotional spirals, or we can feel like we're drowning in emotion. And then it can be useful to kind of like raise our vibration a little bit, or help us feel a little more clear, or less like we're drowning in emotion, so that we can have a sense of clarity and knowing what to do next, or knowing if there isn't anything to do and we just need to simply be and allow the emotion, or maybe we need to cry. So that's why I think toning is really useful. I hope that helps, Ada. If that didn't answer your question, please type in more specific what you're looking for. Oh, please, the breathing process of toning too. Yeah, so basically you're making the sound on the out breath. So you're breathing in, so you could just do one sound even. You could just do the ah sound or the ooh sound. And, but it's, you breathe in and then you use the full out breath for the sound. And the idea is to feel the sound in your body. And you're welcome. Patsy Brooks, hello. I am intrigued by the idea of being my own witness and the essence of my being. What resources do you have for further exploration? Yeah, that's a really good question. I mean, truly, honestly, the best resource is what we just did, is meditating, is going within, because it's literally the practice of just watching and seeing all the things that are not you. Some people will do this kind of like insight oriented meditation where they'll ask the question, who am I? And they'll do that over and over and over again. Who am I? Who am I? Who am I? And, your mind will come up with all sorts of things. Well, I'm a mother. Well, is that permanent though? Well, I'm this body. Well, this body is changing all the time. The cells are turning over. So am I really this body? So you can imagine, you can go down that path of inquiry. It's called inquiry. And so you could play around with that a little bit. This, who am I? And see where it gets you. There's a really good book called, what is it called? I can picture the cover. It's got like a horse on the front. I'm totally blanking on the name now. Well, Patsy, I have your contact information. I know who you are. So if I think of the name of that book, it's one that Allie owns that I actually just borrowed from her. So I will tell you the name of that book. But there's so many ideas for resources, but really the main one is going within and observing.
Oh.
I experienced muscle spasm during soften. Is tensing and releasing them while breathing into them helpful? They are connected to a medical condition. Karen, were you doing the tensing and releasing, or were you just doing the inward soften? While I'm waiting for your answer, I will say there's a technique called tension releasing exercises, TRE. Yes, with breathing, I had to move, otherwise painful. Okay, so you weren't tensing and releasing, you were just doing the soften with breathing. Without knowing anything about your medical condition, I can't exactly answer the question, I think, but oh, you're asking about breathing into the muscle spasms. Okay, now I understand the question. It really depends on what your medical condition is, and so I'm not sure, but what I did want to say about muscle spasms, it is, thank you, Michael. It is The Untethered Soul. Yes, by Michael Singer. That is the book that I was trying to think of, The Untethered Soul. Back to Karen's question. PPS, I don't know what that is. What I wanted to mention though about muscle spasms is that sometimes when we're meditating or we soften, or muscle spasms can be a way of the body releasing trauma. And if you look into the technique called TRE, you just on YouTube, you can just Google, or you can go on YouTube and search TRE. And if you search TRE Alex Green, GREENE, Alex is a local TRE practitioner. I am too, but he's much more experienced than I am. And he does TRE with folks combined with massage. I use it in my psychotherapy practice, combining it with treating PTSD. But it's a way of bypassing the mind, and the body shakes. And if you've ever seen like a dog shake in a thunderstorm or something like that, it's an innate neurogenic reflex. So it's like it's how when the doctor taps your knee, your leg bounces up. That's a reflex. So we're born with this ability to shake when we're releasing trauma or when we're in a traumatic situation. So if you've ever been in like a car accident or something, you might have noticed that you shook. And, or if you're in a really stressful situation, you might tremor or shake. And we come to think that that is weak and we should shut it down and it's bad or something, but it's really not. It's actually the body's way of releasing trauma, or not kind of freezing into that trauma mode, or freezing a memory into the body. So I guess what I'm trying to say, Karen, is the muscle spasm, I don't know about your condition, but the muscle spasm may be just your body releasing an energy or releasing a tension. And you could explore it further with that technique that I mentioned. I hope that helps. Yeah, just letting it be what it was. I think that's a good idea, not making a big story about it. Post-polio syndrome, okay.
Bye.
Thank you.